Yu-Gi-Oh is unwatchable. Let's watch.
It all started a couple of months ago. Around the time of Nat's format in 2025, there was a lot of discussion around a very important problem.
Yu-Gi-Oh might be dying.
Oh yeah, I love this. This video from 3 months ago. But I feel like we don't hear that much anymore, right? Like the Yu-Gi-Oh might be dying. I feel like after the new overframes, at least, I haven't heard that much. But before that, every single day, well, not a day, right? But like every time there were videos about Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, Yu-Gi-Oh is dying. I feel like that's changing right now. I don't know if that's gonna be addressed in the video, but let's see.
Masterduel is destroying the TCG.
Yu-Gi-Oh is dying.
The death of TCG Yu-Gi-Oh as we know it.
Okay, the TCG is dying. I feel like other TCGs are thriving. Is that how you say it, right? Thriving? I don't know. But not Yu-Gi-Oh exactly at the time. I don't know how much have changed, how much is gonna change, but yeah.
Come on, dude, stop with this content!
This issue has been discussed ad nauseum over the last decade to some degree because it's really tough to collect data from tournaments below a regional level. You just can't really assess how many local game stores stopped running Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments this year, how many players quit, and why individuals decided to buy Rift-bound cards instead of...
I feel like it's a vibe, right? I feel like it's a vibe. I feel like if you see your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh content creators moving to something else, or like, I feel like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh content creators, a lot of Yu-Gi-Tubers, they just like keep making videos about Yu-Gi-Oh, but they are like doing something else, right? And you don't see that many new Yugitubers from what I understand, right? I could be wrong. I feel like it's a vibe that when people say like Yu-Gi-Oh is dying.
The branded structure deck. Players debated on the source of this supposed decline, with some blaming factors like the popularity of simulators like masterduel, or the view disparity between content around casual Yu-Gi-Oh compared to the competitive game. I can't really blame them for this kind of discussion because until recently, there hadn't been a lot to look forward to regarding the game. Issues like the falling demand for product, the new player problem, and business decisions prioritizing profit over playability were what people commonly cited when discussing the state of Yu-Gi-Oh! However, I think there is one important piece missing from the discussion that is key to the game's growth. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an awful game to watch.
Okay. I think it's actually like this, right? I see this and I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
Admittedly, that's a bit of a weighty statement about a game that I'd like to talk about for a living. I'm sure the majority of you, despite what you might say, like watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And I do too. I like it a lot. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has incredible strategic depth, which is why I've published so many video essays on it already. However, if you're watching a stream of a YCS for more than a couple minutes, odds are you've played your fair share of Yu-Gi-Oh! Already, at least.
No, that's the thing. Like, I wanted to watch the YCS. I don't know which YCS I watched when I first started getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I didn't get absolutely anything that was happening. Like, I had no idea. Hello, Nightmare Silver. I'm sick. Get better soon. Yeah, you're healed now. I didn't get absolutely anything because I see these cards and I don't know. I cannot even read them. I cannot even see the name to look them up. Yeah, sometimes they show them here, but if I have to like constantly paying attention, and you know, the casters also assume that the people watching are already like experts in the game, right? So it's like really hard for someone who is like completely new to the game to actually enjoy a tournament of this. Now, I said this before, like the comparison with something like, for example, League of Legends, which is also awfully hard to understand, right? Because there is like a lot going on, right? But at least you can see like HP bars, and you can see like a fireball or like a huge arrow, or like something going through to like in the direction of someone else, and you're like, oh, that hit connected, or oh, they dodged it. Wow, they are so cool, right? Or they combine like a lot of like crowd control effects, and you can kind of see and kind of get a vibe of what's going on in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or in probably most card games. you're just seeing like cards and you don't know what's going on, and out of nowhere someone surrenders and you're like, what? Have you ever played Unicorn Control? No, I haven't. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know. That's my pet peeve with it. Makes sense.
More than a couple minutes, odds are you've played your fair share of Yu-Gi-Oh! Already, at least according to this poll from my YouTube subscribers. This is just not the case with popular esports like League of Legends or Counter-Strike. According to an admittedly dated analysis by industry information broker Newzoo, non-players made up around 40 to 50% of the audience for these 5 esports, which
Wow.
I'm sure is a contributing factor to why most of these games are still huge in the scene today. Sorry, Overwatch League. I don't think it's a question that, against their better judgment, some percentage of these viewers eventually became players. Strong viewership among non-players is a mark of health for an esports scene, because it represents a fertile ground for potential growth. This is ground that Yu-Gi-Oh! Just doesn't have. So this begs the question, why is the audience of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost entirely made up of players? Let's get...
I think like it's very simple, right? Like the answer seems like obvious, right? I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but the first thing that I think about is because if you're not a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, you have no idea what's going on, and it's obviously not enjoyable. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's how when they normal summon a monster and then 5 seconds later it's a link summon away, so they can't even read the first card. That is also true. Sometimes it just goes too fast too. So like even if someone was narrating it, they wouldn't explain exactly why it's happening like that. Yeah, I totally get that.
The elephant out of the room first. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is complicated. It's so complicated, even its most dedicated players and judges get all kinds of things wrong, all the time.
Lockford
It's
adds
Trigger Swing gets
bans.
banished.
We've got a
It's a
new
different
chain
card.
link, but it changed locations. We get a judge if you want.
Correct? Okay. Sorry, it hasn't come up yet. My bad.
For this reason, channels looking to
Yeah.
stream the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG have the cards stacked against them compared to their TCG counterparts. Games like Pokemon are simpler and therefore better for the viewing experience. In Pokemon streams,
Is it? I guess because there is only one guy fighting the other one, right? And everything else is the bench. I feel like it's easier to understand. Yeah, I think in a way it should be like that. Remember when they announced Masterduel and wanted it to be an esport? They brought that up ever again. Did it? I never heard of that because I wasn't here when Masterduel came out. I started playing 6 months ago, so I don't know. But like, it's weird that they didn't turn it into something like that. Probably, who knows? I mean, they do play Masterduel in YCS. They do? Interesting.
overlays can keep track of much of the important game information, including the health, moves, and energy of each Pokemon, the number of prize cards remaining in play, and if a resource like the powerful once per turn supporter card has been used already.
Oh
Other
yeah,
card
I
games
understand now. The UI looks way better, right? All the information is here, so it's easier to follow. Interesting.
like the powerful once per turn supporter card has been used already. Other card games like Magic can have similar levels of complexity to Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry, it's true, but attempt to mitigate it by showing what cards are in each player's hand and highlighting pretty much every new
I don't know about that
card
one.
that comes into play so that viewers may read it themselves. Konami EU has tried to keep track of players'
This
hands in
dude.
the past, but in recent years this feature of their YCS streams has fallen by the wayside, and it's easy to see why. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, cards enter and leave the hand and board so fast that there is no possible way to efficiently track and read them all. This
Okay.
problem greatly impacts a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG content. When cards appear for the first time in competitive settings, many creators will pause the match in order to read them aloud.
This is going to be the first post-Juju match that we're posting, and let's go ahead and read some of the cards. So we have Kutu Dragontail.
Deck profiles on new strategies will discuss additions that viewers are likely to not be familiar with, and if you've ever watched a game of the singleton domain format, I know none of you watch this video, you can't lie to me. Vast swaths of it are dedicated to reading cards for the sake of the viewer's understanding. Effects on cards aren't the only difficult thing to communicate in Yu-Gi-Oh! 2. Some game states can only be deciphered by carefully paying attention to the discussion between the two players.
Jesus Christ. What is this? Tier elements, right? Or yeah, it's tier elements, right? Right? I don't know.
Complex chains are notorious for this, with the information about what effects are activating and what they are targeting living only in the duelist conversation, often drowned out by the music and commentary in a YCS livestream. Specific markers have had to be used in the past to represent invisible statuses, like a monster being negated, zones being locked, or
I like that. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. This is the stream from like the setup, the distant coders setup, I think.
invisible statuses, like a monster being negated, zones being locked, or that a player is surrendering in TCG live streams to aid the understanding of viewers. But these are far from standard. Other conditions, like if a player is locked into summoning a specific type of monster, are almost impossible to communicate visually in a live stream. It's no
Yeah. I need them. I need like a maxi, not maxi, I guess, like a Fualos or a Droll thing, or like they mention a shifter, something like that.
surprise that so many content creators and viewers have jumped ship to masterduel, since it is much easier to read cards in play, see how chains are constructed, visually understand the game state, and get a sense of the impact of certain monsters, attacks, and effects, purely through the game's animations. Twitch-compatible plugins like Untapped make the barrier to understanding masterduel even lower, allowing viewers to read any card in the streamer's deck at any time at all.
Oh.
This kind of thing leads YCS tournament streams to not only being one of the least watchable types of TCG stream, but also not even the best way to watch Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. I would never recommend like someone who wants to get into Yu-Gi-Oh to try the actual TCG, right? It has to be Master Duel first. Yeah, you know, that's the issue, right? Master Duel is just too good. What can I say?
However, for this all to matter, you would have to be able to, watch Yu-Gi-Oh! When you tune into a YCS. One of my biggest hangups with the tournament viewing experience is joining the stream only to be greeted by this segment, and you've probably seen it. Guess the goddamn card. Is that...
I've never seen this.
Is that my favorite card, Vanity's Fiend? Just for fun, here's an extremely relevant photo of Cupsy Yummy that we will...
Gore of my comfort character? Whoa, wash Cupsy Yummy in the laundry by accident. I'm a monster. Wow.
Turn to later, so don't forget about it. Tournaments for many other games just don't waste your time to this degree. Let's compare what is aired on a YCS stream to another popular esport that we'll be delving into in a little bit. Super Smash Bros.
Okay.
As part of researching for this video, I went through the VODs of two tournaments to collect data, Yu-Gi-Oh's European WCQ from over the summer, and Smash's 2025 Super Major, Supernova. I logged what was shown on stream and for how long it was shown,
oh my god,
breaking
this
it down
is a lot
into
of work.
three main categories of footage. The actual matches, the commentary done between matches, and a third category that I'm going to call undesirable footage.
Okay, undesirable footage, it sounds like very subjective, but let's try to see what's included in there.
Advertisements, stock video, the tournament schedule, guess the card.
Okay, I feel like there's a big difference between those four, right? But I get the idea.
The main channel stream of Supernova looked like this.
Hello, Star Gold, welcome. Airtime breakdown Supernova. Okay, so undesirable footage is just less than 10%. Commentary is like 11% and the match is like almost 80%. Interesting.
Almost 80% of stream time was spent showing matches, with around 10% of time spent on commentary and undesirable footage respectively. Now, let's compare that to WCQ. The European WCQ spent around twice the time showing between match commentary, and more than 2.5 times the time showing undesirable footage. If you tuned into this stream at any random point, you'd only be shown a live commentated match of Yu-Gi-Oh! A little more than half the time. Now, it might be easy to say that this is the fault of Konami's live streaming team, and we'll talk about that later, but I think this problem has very deep roots.
It's because of the complexity of the game that doesn't allow like silly things and requires a lot of setup, is that it?
It stems from Yu-Gi-Oh's tournament structure.
Oh.
Smash and Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments have two different kinds of structures: double elimination and Swiss. Double elimination is commonly used in fighting games like Smash, and it's pretty easy to explain. Each player starts the tournament with 2 lives, and they play in a bracket. If you lose a match, you get sent to loser's bracket, and you lose your first life. Loser's bracket is much larger because after every round of winner's bracket, half of the players will become losers. If you lose in loser's bracket, your second life is gone and you are eliminated.
Okay.
Swiss, commonly used in TCGs, Pokemon, and chess, is very different. In Swiss, you are usually never eliminated outright, but instead play a specific number of rounds chosen to ensure that no more than a single player is undefeated by the end. Players are not placed in a bracket, but are paired dynamically based on their current win-loss record after every round.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare to
In
track.
large Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, the bottom 85-ish% of players are eliminated at the end of the first day. The best 8 players from Swiss after day 2 will then play for the tournament win in a single elimination top cut. Each player gets 1 life. Swiss rounds are a set amount of time, so when the streamed match ends, everyone must wait for the entire round to complete for the next match to be shown. This is why Konami's live stream relies on undesirable footage, because at every YCS, somewhere, Lina and Win get an 8-minute time extension on their match due to a judge call that got appealed. Now, 1,000 players have to wait until their game is finished before next round's pairings can be printed.
What the hell? Lina just doesn't believe you can special summon 2 Spiritual Beast Tamer Lara at the same time with Ulti Kanahawk, but Win knows better. Huh.
Let's pretend that I am the average North American weeb born
the Slifer Red Dorm. Beautiful, beautiful.
in 1996, a prime candidate for card game radicalization.
Yeah.
And I've innocently clicked on a YCS stream thumbnail because I happened to remember how much I liked Buster Blader when I was 8.
Okay, let's be honest here. Like, is this actually gonna happen? Like, ever? Is anyone like gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna click on this random tournament of some game? I don't know. Does that happen? Because I feel like people usually get into these kind of things because of someone else, right? Someone else, like a friend, says like, hey, let's watch this together, or I watch this, like, you know, something like that. I don't know, dude. Or, oh, you have to see this, bro, you have to see this. This is the best thing ever. I don't even think it would even get suggested, right? Yeah, it wouldn't even get suggested. That's a good point. The algorithm wouldn't suggest that to you. I never get like suggestions from games that I don't play, right? From tournaments, no. Sometimes I get suggested like video essays on videos on games that I don't play and never play and I have no interest in, because of the creators, right? The creators that made the video are like, maybe they made something that I care about, right? So maybe it got suggested. But like, in this case, it's a tournament. It's obviously hosted by a company that only does that, right? So unless it's, for example, like, I don't know, let's say like I'm a Ludwig watcher and Ludwig is organizing I watch Ludwig for well, not anymore, I guess, but like for Smash content, and then he makes a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Well, I will get that suggested because of the creator, not because of the actual game and the company. I don't know. Up to how long videos you're reacting to? It depends. But I get like I get suggestions in the Discord server, right? Like right now we're watching a 30-minute video, and after this we're gonna watch a 10 minutes, and then we're gonna watch like an hour long, basically. And we will see how it goes for the next time, depending on the suggestions. But yeah, I don't think it will get suggested so I don't think this is a realistic scenario.
Damn, that guy's cool. Even though I have no idea who Lina and Win are, or what Swiss is, I am now stuck watching Guess the Card for 15 minutes. Naturally, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. Double elimination doesn't have this problem, which is why match after match after match can be shown on stream with little downtime in between, leading to weebs of all ages becoming involved with the competitive Smash scene.
Okay.
How could we let this happen? We're getting killed out there. Well, there are many advantages to double elimination. The problems with it make it a worse choice when applied to games like Yu-Gi-Oh! The main issue has to do with the number of rounds. In Swiss, a tournament of 64 people will always have 6 rounds, since 2 to the 6th power is 64. In double elimination, a 64-person tournament will have 6 rounds of normal winners bracket and 1 to 2 rounds of grand finals, where the undefeated player faces the player that made it out of the losers bracket. This losers bracket is what generally slows down this tournament structure.
Takes too long. Takes too long.
In losers, a round gets added for each round of winners bracket, since half the people lose. Rounds of losers bracket take turns between matches featuring 2 veteran losers who were eliminated earlier and matches between a veteran loser and a new player who has just been eliminated from winners bracket. What this means in practice is that when you enter losers bracket, you must win way more rounds in a row to reach grand finals than if you had stayed in winners bracket. In this 64-player test tournament I did, a player that lost their round 1 had to win 10 matches instead of 6 to make it to grands. At a large tournament like Supernova, that number goes from 12 wins in winners bracket to 21 wins in losers bracket.
I see you, disgusting VTuber watcher. I'm sorry, Chad.
Depending on if you win or lose round 1. This is typically fine within the context of fighting games since there is usually less of an RNG element. The outcome of each match is more often within each player's control. Imagine this in the context of Yu-Gi-Oh! Though. You're a professional player who has lost their round 1 due to 2 unfortunate bricks. Your deck is well positioned and your technical play is near optimal, but due to rotten luck, you must now play and win almost 9 more matches than you would have had to for a shot at grand finals. A round 1 loss in Swiss is not great, but in double elimination it all but seals your fate when luck is a major factor. There are some other hangups with double elimination too. Double elimination tournaments must be seeded in order of expected performance, so players must now be ranked before the tournament starts.
Expected performance,
which adds more overhead. In an elimination bracket, players cannot draw and are forced into tiebreakers until a winner can be declared. Yu-Gi-Oh's previous end-of-match procedures and the new double loss time rules don't make a lot of sense here, since a match going to time could make it so that the future opponent gets a free win next round. These rules are therefore not suitable for elimination tournaments. This has already caused the occasional problem for single elimination side event pods at YCSs.
And that new time rule with the double losses, they're using that even in single elimination, meaning neither player advances in the bracket and the next matchup has no opponent anymore.
This is also the main reason why single elimination top cuts at YCSs are untimed now, because imagine a tournament with no finals or where nobody wins. It would be a PR nightmare. And speaking of time, the time it takes to run a losers bracket with way more matches than winners is something to take into consideration. 21 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just takes an eternity to run, even if each round is pretty much guaranteed to go far quicker than the hour and change it takes for a YCS round to finish. Additionally, many players are in it for the love of the game, and enjoy playing all of their day 1 matches at YCSs even if they start 0-3 and have no hope of receiving prizing. For these players, Swiss is preferable because they get to play 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! No matter what.
But do we want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Do we actually want to play the game? That's the question.
Yu-Gi-Oh's lack of watchability has even deeper causes beyond what is being streamed, however. One of my favorite video essays of all time is Innuendo Studios' Things of Beauty, Super Smash Bros. As spectator sport.
Okay, I need to watch this. I never thought about this. That sounds amazing. I'm adding it to the playlist. I don't think it's here, right? Is it? No, it's not. But yeah, I will look it up later.
This specific video directly inspired me to pursue both competitive Smash, which I was verifiably mid at, and video essay production.
Yeah?
I guess you'll have to let me know how that's going. In the essay,
he's going
Ian
great.
goes into what made him into a regular viewer of Melee after
Hello, Sean.
watching EVO. He describes some of the other fighting games on the EVO docket in such a way that if you swapped in YCS footage, you probably wouldn't think anything was amiss.
They weren't accessible to me. The commentators would describe what was happening in ways that were really interesting in an abstract game theory sense, and it seemed probably quite exciting for the people who played these games, but as my relationship began and ended with watching, I just couldn't get into it.
To him, Melee is different. Melee has the style, the pizzazz, the weirdness, but above all, Melee has culture.
I get
Well, I think like more than this is the nature of the game. It's like so easy to understand, right? It makes perfect sense.
to this level of investment, and Smash ceases to be just a game. It's drama.
I guess, and it's intuitive too. I never thought about it. I've never thought about the drama in it, like how you can kind of feel like the personality, or the emotions of the people playing, even if you don't see them. Am I crazy? Am I getting parasocial for the Falco player here? I don't know.
Collection of stories with comebacks and tragedies, monsters and savants. And most of these stories probably aren't true, but they feel true.
So for the first question, what aspects of Melee tournaments make them enjoyable to watch in your opinion? Honestly, if it wasn't for the rivalries and the stories between the players, I'd have little to no interest. It's no.
I guess the stories also help a lot. There is like the beef in the fighting game community. It's just like a different beast. Yu-Gi-Oh! Smash game when that would be something, yeah. Especially Melee, yeah.
No secret that a lot of players care a lot about the people playing, especially since watching the Smash documentary. If it wasn't for the storylines behind that, I wouldn't really care about the game itself. There's something about seeing HBox win a major again after like a 3-year period of no wins, or watching PPMD commentating, that just makes the game feel like so much more than just gameplay, and that's really the aspect that has me hooked.
The documentary that Distant Coder is referring to is a touchpoint in Ian's video too. It's been cited as partially
I think I watched this. I think that playlist.
Responsible for the revival of Melee in the 2010s, from near death to one of the most successful competitive games of today. Its portrayal of the 5 best players of the time, the 5 gods, continues to shape how the game is thought of more than 10 years later. This culture of storytelling, of ascribing a narrative and meaning to events that are almost but not quite random, is what makes Melee worth watching, at least to people like Ian and Distant Coder.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to have like a section of this video to be about Melee. That's awesome.
It's what spectator sports are all about.
In a recent Turn Down for Walt video, he talks about how the era of the 5 gods was such a perfect storm and mix of personalities. The 5 gods were all extremely different people with different personalities, but were all allowed to shine or clash in some way. Armada versus Mango was huge because Armada's such a calm guy, and Mango was a crowd pleaser, and the difference in vibes on and off stage made for rivalries that were interesting to follow.
What makes
I never thought about it. I always like, yeah, they play like different characters or whatever. I didn't think about how like different the personalities are of the 5 guys. I can't.
Melee isn't just the game. A lot of it is these stories about the game, and the tension of watching a new chapter unfold live. You don't need to know about the mechanics of ledge dashing to get invested into a grand finals match that is also the battleground of a long-standing rivalry. It's presentation.
Yep.
You have to know who's competing, what their history is, and what a match between them might mean. This is what adds the stakes to a children's game that can create a scene for it from almost nothing. And this
Okay, I don't know, is this not like creating these like stories, like obviously the stories exist, right? But isn't it like the commentators like doing that job basically? And since as far as I know, there is no like an official Melee tournaments, right? Because Nintendo hates the community. So there is like a more of a leeway for the commentators to be more invested and talk shit about the like not the commentators talking shit, but talking about the shit that they talk to each other. Like it's different when it's an official thing, like the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, because the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments that matter are like hosted by Konami ? So the casters, the commentators cannot say things like that. Is that also true? Is it part of the video? I don't know. I feel like that should be part of it.
This is something that Yu-Gi-Oh can tap into. An aside, but do you remember poor Cupsy Yummy from earlier in the video?
Yes.
The average amount of time spent guessing the card at the 2025 EUWCQ has passed since then. Even less if you're watching at 1.25 times speed, like I'm sure you're doing right now,
No.
aren't you, Farfa?
My name is Garrett Shear, more well known as Fi on the internet, and I wear a lot of hats. I am first an esports commentator, then a Yu-Gi-Oh content creator, and now a Counter-Strike content creator covering the esports realm. People in the competitive space of Yu-Gi-Oh don't actually try to accommodate the casual audience. How you're able to bridge that gap is include something that is generally applicable to human beings. It's called the human element. I mean, it's just storytelling in general. You know, there's this card called Mystic Mine. Why is it important? You've just explained that. And that's the human element. That's how you bridge the gap between competitive and casual.
Okay. Completely like, I'm gonna go into a tangent. But I saw a video, I don't remember. It was like the Tier Su guy. I don't know if you have seen it, Chad. Have you watched Tier Su? That's how his name, right? Or Su Tier. I think it's Tier Su. Which is this guy who makes videos about tier list of animals as if it was a video game, right? So this guy is like an amazing content creator, right? Like in his niche, well, it's not a niche, like he's the only one doing that. He's like really good at editing, he's like really good at the script writing. And yeah, obviously amazing content creator, right? So he made a series of videos about Yu-Gi-Oh! He organized a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament with a lot of players who didn't know absolutely anything about Yu-Gi-Oh! I think maybe 2 of them maybe watched the anime, but the other ones were completely clueless. Now, they had cool personalities, but the video was weird because I didn't get like, who is this video for exactly? Because they were explaining absolutely everything. Like the most basic things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the most basic things is like, this is a monster card. The monster card has attack and defense, and it can have an attribute and a thing and all of that thing, right? Or yeah, this is a spell card. You can activate as many spell cards and stuff like that. Like I felt like this video is not for me, but it clearly wasn't for casuals because of the way. We should react to that. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I know they didn't, like those videos didn't do well, basically. Like they didn't have like numbers wise, it didn't do well. So I don't know if like that's the way exactly. I can't even remember if I watched that or not. We should watch it next time. All right, I'm just like, what I'm trying to say is like, it's hard to make it like, to like make a video for the casual audience, because I feel like people who are already not into Yu-Gi-Oh! Will not get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Like at any point, if they are at least not into other card games. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see people getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless they have like a friend that is really annoying, right? But also in a way that is not that annoying that they don't want to hear anything about Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. Dude, you know what happened? Okay, another tangent. I went to my family's house, and I was like talking to my brother, and I was like, oh, by the way, do you know what? Like recently, because Yu-Gi-Oh is my only thing right now, right? Not my only thing, right? I talk about like my job, which is art, and also this channel. So I mentioned something about Yu-Gi-Oh, and my brother asked, like, oh yeah, like what do people play in Yu-Gi-Oh now? Obviously, trying to start a conversation, right? And I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So I started talking about it, and I was trying to explain why I was like recently like interested in playing Cool Tune, and then I realized that I had to explain what hand traps are and what, like, how synchros and XCs work. And I was like, wait. And the more that I try to explain, I also need to explain this. And I also need to, because my brother watched like the first, like, Duel Monsters, right? I don't know if he finished it or if he was like I don't know if he was like a very big fan at some point. Right? But he only knows that. He only knows the anime. So I was like, wait, I have to explain synchros. And I have to explain like how hand traps work. And I have to kind of explain the rules to explain what a hand trap even is. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Look at the design. Isn't this really cool? It has like a cable thing for hair. And and he's like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And we cannot engage in talking about why I like the archetype or anything, right? It's impossible to talk about it unless I go to like really into it, and I don't want to like bore him, right? I don't want to bore my friends talking about that much. I do sometimes. I'm sorry if you're watching this. I'm sorry. I sometimes do because I have the tism. I don't know what to tell you. My conversation just include new tune cards. Yeah, I mean you can like talking about tunes. I guess if anyone watched the no, even then the cards don't even work like in the anime. So I don't know. Well, anyways, I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
His videos exemplify this sort of thing perfectly, and it's why I don't buy the idea that there isn't an interest in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Stories, content, and casting about competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be highly appealing, but they require the right approach to make them compelling and, well, approachable. Just glance through Fi's catalog of videos, or the YouTube shorts of Squiddies, or videos like this one about Jeff Leonard by the up-and-coming channel Mono Analysis, or even some of my own work. These videos hit far above the weight class of the channels they were published by, with many crossing the million-view threshold that almost all Yugitubers struggle to reach.
There's huge potential. It's just, I'm disappointed, fellas, because there's so much opportunity to harness that potential to like gain viewers and bring new people to the game, and instead you already cater to people who play the game.
So I'm doing posting. I just don't think it's like, I understand like we should try, but I feel like it's not as simple as it seems. Like I don't think anyone has like cracked the code yet. I think that's gonna be hard. This is a learning curve for Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's hard to reach the initial climb. Yeah, it's just like too hard to get into it. There is so much. And the people who already care, at least a little bit, is because they watch the anime, and the game it's not anything like the anime anymore, so.
And that's a very small portion of the people who actually know what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. That's how you get million-view videos, fellas.
Really?
The potential is with these stories stemming from the competitive game, a game that many people vilify due to its sweat and complexity. As seen through this lens, you could easily imagine how Yu-Gi-Oh! Might have the potential to measure up to Melee's current success. Like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Melee is a game that a generation of people played as a kid and are broadly familiar with the basic mechanics of. Like Yu-Gi-Oh!, the gameplay of modern—
Maybe solo games can help, at least that's how I got up. Solo games. I feel like there has never been a popular solo game for non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Modern tournament Melee is almost completely alien to the game people played growing up. Like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Melee is not an easy game to get into because of its immense mechanical complexity. The process of learning both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Melee involves facing opponents with skills that have taken multiple decades to perfect, and losing to them over and over and over again. Yet Melee tournaments are breaking size records even now. Is it that unreasonable to think that Yu-Gi-Oh!, with the right approach, could follow in its footsteps to its own renaissance? Even with the headway made by these creators, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has
Part 2 when? Speaking of Melee, have you heard of Super Smash Flash on Newgrounds? That's completely out of topic, and I think I heard about it, but you know, I'm not that big into like Smash right now to do something about it. I'm so sorry.
There's a ways to go to show what there is to like about its competitive scene. When I was interviewing Fi and Coder, I asked them about their opinions on what Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to foster more interest in the competitive side of it. Fi had a lot to say about it from the perspective of a content creator, and the hurdles to creating content similar to his own, or the Smash documentary.
A huge part about YouTube and content creation in general is that when you make a video idea, you have to understand how many people can watch this. Like, how many people can watch this video, grasp what you're putting forward, and follow that.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it, as opposed to the meta that is making something that caters to Farfa specifically. So, because believe it or not, I heard this. I heard this. That is like, in order to do something that you should just like think about, like, what was, if Farfa will Farfa react to this? If Farfa gonna react to this, then that means that it's a good video, a good video topic. I don't know. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can craft a perfect video like that. But thinking about how many people can watch it is also an interesting way of thinking about content creation. How many people can watch it, but that it's not the same as how many people will be interested in watching it. I feel like those are different things. Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna get to those later. Don't worry.
And YouTube understands that. YouTube algorithms understand that like, okay, these kind of people can watch this kind of video. So the more people you try to accommodate, and, you know, explain jargon or use little jargon or, you know, explain your thoughts, that increases the reach of your video. There's a high barrier to entry to make these kind of videos. For one, you have to be a certain skill level of the game to fully comprehend what is happening, which that takes hundreds of hours of playing games online, playing games in person, locals, regionals, YCSs. It takes a lot of experience to go through it. The amount of effort it actually takes to make these videos is a lot. There's a underlying problem, I feel like, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I saw it still exists, which I'm a bit disappointed to see, but 2 years ago when I first started my channel for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creation kind of sucks. No one really wants to put a lot of effort into making a single video. They would rather play it safe and, you know, record entertainment content in front of a camera instead of sinking in the extra 4 or 5 days of editing and scripting and researching and weaving together storylines. People don't want to take risks, and I think those kind of videos were seen as risks to current standing channels.
I think there's space in Yu-Gi-Oh! For all kinds of...
That's a very interesting point. It's risky to invest so much into a video that you don't know like how it's gonna do, right? Because you can, it's not only like editing like that, it's just like money too, right? Because you stop doing some other things in order to work on that video, right? And if the video doesn't do well, right? Especially like starting, like video production, like it's really hard to do. It takes a lot of time. So the people who can do it, like, props to them, obviously. What?
content, but I do agree that the types of videos that can truly energize a community are incredibly tough and risky to make. It's the reason why there are only a couple of examples I could find of people making things even remotely similar to Fi. It's not really a proven model for a YouTube channel the way it is for games like Melee. Coder took a very different approach. To him, this difference in culture directly stems from the place in the community of the top players and their individual personalities.
I think the thing with the Melee community, and maybe an FGC thing in general, that the Yu-Gi-Oh community just doesn't have, is caring not just about individual success of players, but also how dominant one player is over the other. People keep lifetime records of how many times Cody and Zayn have beaten each other, but can anyone tell you how many times Jesse Cotton beat Joshua Schmidt? Probably not, because the community doesn't care the way Melee fans do. In the Yu-Gi-Oh community, people don't tend to root for high-level players. And I want to clarify that I mean this in the most respectful way possible, but high-level Yu-Gi-Oh players are really difficult to root for. Where Melee pros like HBox, Zayn,
I didn't think we would get there. I never thought about it, but it's so true. It's so true.
JMoke have personalities and that it factor when they play. Top-level Yu-Gi-Oh players oftentimes have personalities that resemble more M2K or Cody Schwab, which notoriously aren't rooted for as often just because they're more boring people to watch play.
Okay,
Yu-Gi-Oh
hold on.
doesn't necessarily lack this culture, though. The proof of that is none other than Triff Gaming and Nesh. Triff went on an insane run of almost 3-peating YCS wins, and the people were all about it. They loved it. But why? Because Triff was tweeting about it the whole way, hyping himself up, and getting the people to be hyped for him. And Nesh, when his team won the World Championship, the dude was on stage bringing his opponents up on stage with him because they were his friends, making it more than just about the trophy. Nesh wanted his team's Worlds win to be a story with a happy ending. And that's what the Yu-Gi-Oh community lacks. Too many top players show up, do what they have to do, and leave.
Interesting.
Well, there is definitely some opportunity for the community to assume responsibility for making the culture around Yu-Gi-Oh more exciting. Some of it might require changes with the way YCSs are streamed and organized. In a grassroots game like Smash, this is much easier since the community members run tournaments. In Yu-Gi-Oh, casters have more restrictions on the way they are allowed to speak.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying.
Which might be a contributing factor to why things are the way that they are.
I mean, it's no secret that YCSs have zero hype behind them. The streams are bland, they look like shit, and they do nothing to make it about the players. YCS streams care more about telling you to go buy the latest set than they do about letting the player's personality shine. Go back a couple years, and anytime someone would win, they would ask them the same 4 questions after they won.
Tyler, did dueling in the feature match this first round, with all the pressure, all the lights, did that change the way you dueled at all? What stood out in that match in your mind? Are there any deck types that you're looking forward to dueling against this weekend? How are you feeling about your chances of winning this tournament with the deck you're playing with now that you're off to a 1-0 start?
And they would ask these same questions round 1 as they would in the top 4. It was embarrassing. Konami's new hosts like Ed Templar, Kangas, and Jackie do a really good job of making the streams better on their own, but the production as a whole really does a horrible job of highlighting players, their achievements, and stuff like that. Melee talks about rivalries, players...
Yeah, you know, I also have like another point of comparison here, which is the Dota 2 tournaments. Well, I don't know how they are now because I stopped watching them like a few years ago. But I remember in Dota 2, there is like a lot of like personality in there, and the casters, they usually like invite like players that have like cool personalities, and that's also really cool. And sometimes when someone loses and is already eliminated, they just bring them to the panel and they are part of the panel, and the panel have a lot of like personality, and sometimes they just have someone who doesn't know much about the game in the panel. Like, they of course know the game, they play the game, right? But they are not like pros, but they are mostly there because they are entertaining, and they like make the like quote unquote the people with quote unquote boring personalities talk more and get to know them. And I feel like that shouldn't be that hard to do. I don't know.
Players 1v1 match history, how long it's been since they won a major. Yu-Gi-Oh streams don't do that, and they really truly should.
Fi also had good things to say about some of the new commentary talent brought on by Konami in recent years.
They've hired some very good commentators. Shout out to Steve Kangas as well, being an amazing presenter. Jackie Jing as well for being a great presenter as well. The European broadcast is exceptional. because their commentator duos have incredible chemistry. Koenig Lionheart and Sebastian Lemke are great faces for the game, and I believe they commentated this year's World Championship as well. They are the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh commentary, and I love them because they are also extremely embedded in the competitive side of the game.
I feel like I need to pay more attention to that aspect. I feel like next time we watch a YCS, we should probably do that. We should probably talk about that, about the production, and see, pay attention to those things, because I honestly was paying more attention to the games than anything else, because I'm already invested. But I need to think about it from a different perspective now. It's interesting. I remember once listening to two funny Korean commentators on Dota 2 match who stole the show despite understanding nothing. They said, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. People talk about it a lot, right? Sometimes the commentators just go crazy. Yeah, I love that.
Game.
Physical Yu-Gi-Oh events are not built to cater to spectators either. When I went to the NAWCQ, there was a small area for spectators of the match currently being streamed, but at YCS Pittsburgh there was only standing room in front of the stage. In order for a more spectator-focused culture in Yu-Gi-Oh to thrive, the in-person viewing experience must be prioritized at these larger events.
For North American YCSs, please have a designated audience area. For goodness sakes.
This should be a given, right?
The only memorable moments that I have in Yu-Gi-Oh is because of some of the audience's reactions. I mean, again, they do it right in EU because Europe they're wearing noise canceling headphones. The commentators are broadcast to the crowd, right? That's a huge difference. Commentators need to be broadcast to the crowd. Players need to be wearing noise canceling headphones, and you have a real event. People could go to the event not just to play in it, but to watch it, and to make it a true spectator experience.
Seating for a crowd is crucial for the game if Yu-Gi-Oh is to become more spectator-focused. The cheering crowd is an important aspect to show the stakes of the match, and some of the best moments of YCS streams are due to a personality shining through when the crowd is being filmed. The crowd is the community after all, and without that, the game would be nothing. Yu-Gi-Oh has quite a bit to change for it to start to be able to gain traction as a spectator sport. It's facing problems that every card game has faced, but with more difficulty due to its increased complexity. However, it has the advantage of already being known by tens of millions of people, and this gives the game a lot of potential. Yu-Gi-Oh might be a tough game to learn and play, but that is what keeps people coming back to it. This limitless skill ceiling is what makes the competitive game worth watching, and it's what makes these stories behind its players so compelling. This is why the trick to saving Yu-Gi-Oh isn't making the game easier. We have to show why the game is worth learning in the first place. With that, I am out of characters, so I guess this is the end. Thanks so much to Distant Coder and Phi for their answers to my questions. I wouldn't have been able to make this video without them, and thanks to Dan Parker for editing my script. A massive thanks to my patrons, including Dan Parker, Drumstep, Farfa, MBT Yu-Gi-Oh, Prinrin, Ray, and Steven Marmerstein.
Farfa and MBT, that's awesome.
If you're interested in watching the interviews from this video in full, or if you want to help my work beyond just a like or subscription,
that's awesome.
You know where to go. Be well, until next time.
That's amazing. Wait, what is this? Dude, what a cool video, I never thought about a lot of things there, and that makes for a lot of conversation. And this is the type of video that I want to watch. This was amazing. Thank God because thank God we actually watched it. The other time that we tried to watch this video, we got interrupted, at the start. So yeah, I'm glad that we came back to this. So yeah, let me know which one was for you is the main issue. For me, it's just the complexity of the game more than the casting things. But we can alleviate that, right? I didn't think when I initially thought about this, Yu-Gi-Oh is unwatchable, I thought we were gonna talk about the game in nature, not about the content creation aspect and the tournament aspect and the things outside of it that are actually in our control, right? Because we cannot change the game, but we can change how it is presented to other to casual viewers, right? So that Yu-Gi-Oh is not dying anymore. That's cool. So let me know. For me, it's reading. Yeah, the effects are like so convoluted, right? So long, so it makes it like hard to understand for someone who is new to the game, right? You cannot expect anyone to go there and start reading if they are not already invested in something else. Like, for example, the stories of the player, right? Like in comparison to Melee and stuff. To me, it's the complexity. You need to know the cards to follow what is happening. Yeah, exactly. And it's hard for the commentators. They also don't get it sometimes. It's a learning curve. Yeah. So anyways, let me know in the comments and I will see you next time. Thank you.